Welcome to Identified, where we explore, challenge, and redefine the traditional concepts of family and identity. In this episode, I am joined by podcaster, writer, and creator of the Stacks podcast, Traci Thomas.
So my dad was born in 1935. Like, my dad's older than most people's grandparents. I found my grandfather's father, or my grandfather's uncle, on like a census. But, you know, it's rural Louisiana, 1950. You know, like it's not giving what I hope it's giving.
What were you looking for?
I was trying to find something beyond grandparent because, like, I don't know, I get very jealous of people. And because my dad was older and he's since passed away, there's no family older that would know, that has that information. Like, I don't even know what I'm looking for. I think that my grandfather's father was named George, but I'm not sure if that's right. So my last name's Thomas. Like, it's not helpful. His mom, she's Creole, and her main name is Varice, which is my middle name. But the spelling makes it really hard to like track because it's spelled Varieste. If you know anything about the censi, they usually just say the name, so it's hard to even track, like, how would you spell Varice if you were a person who didn't care about these people, right? So that side's sort of been a bust. And then on my mom's side, which is the Jewish, they were from Ukraine on one side and then Latvia on the other. And we can go back further on that side, like my grandmother, my great-grandmother, I think great-great.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And they came over, well, this is funny. My great-grandmother and her sister came over from Latvia on a boat, and they met brothers on the boat and married the brothers.
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't know my great-grandmother. And then on my mom's dad's side, he had a cool story too. He was like a polyglot, so he spoke like a lot of language. They said 13 languages. I don't buy it for a second.
That's a lot of language.
But what I do know is that he was one of Diego Rivera's translators when he painted the murals in New York. He's not the translator like that's in the movies and stuff, but he was there. He was around, and he came from Ukraine during the pogroms. Ended up going through Mexico, I think. And he spoke Spanish. So he spent time in Mexico City, I believe, and then ended up in New York, but then my grandparents went in LA. So I don't know the exact story.
Yeah, a lot of moving around.
A lot of moving around.
Did you know any grandparents?
Just my dad's mom. I was only born with one. It's just like people who like have grandparents who are like adults and then their grandparents die and like, oh my God, my grandparent. And I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I do not relate. It's like when people's pets die. I'm like, I know that that's sad for you, but like, I don't feel that thing. My big regret is not asking my dad what he made of Emmett Till. Like what that event did to him. Because he would have been 25 at the time.
Where was he when that happened?
He would have been in the Bay Area, but he's from the South. I'm sure he would have related to this like city kid. They were similarly aged, though my dad is older than Emmett Till, which is like crazy, right? I'm always going to be proud to vote because my dad was 30 years old when Black Americans got the right to vote. Like a full adult. Like I wish that I had asked him about those kind of things. Like, what is that like? And obviously he didn't grow up in the South. They came to California when he was only 2. My grandmother and my grandfather were sharecroppers, like it's the true Great Migration story.
Wow. And then you were born in Oakland?
I was born in the same hospital as Jesmyn Ward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was born in the Bay.
Okay. And did you live in the same house?
For 6 months, we were in one house. We moved to the house that I lived in until I was in 6th grade, and then we moved into the house that we were in until my dad passed away, and then my mom moved into a different house.
So 2 houses, so like
basically 2
solid
houses.
family.
Yeah, 2 houses for my childhood.
Right.
Yeah.
And with both parents?
Yeah.
And siblings?
One brother. I have half siblings, but they're much older. My dad was much older, so he had like a whole other family. So my half sisters are like my mom's age, and my niece is 3 years younger than me. It's not quite like my niece is older than me because I know people who have that too, but it's one of those. So my brother and I are very close, raised in the same house, 5 years older than me.
2 parents, 2 kids, brother and sister. Did it feel like a normal, quote unquote, normal childhood, normal family?
So bad at that kind of stuff. So it wasn't crazy. It wasn't like no major things besides just having like an old dad, which is different, right?
How was that different?
Well, he's really strict. I have an old Black Southern dad. Like, my curfew, even when I went away to call, I went to NYU. Okay, so I was living in Manhattan, no campus, like just in New York. And I would come home and my curfew was 10 p.m. Like, that is weird. In college, I lived with, after I lived like on campus, I got an apartment with my 3 guy friends. And it was this whole thing. They were all gay. Like, we're theater kids. But my brother had to like intervene and like tell my dad like it's okay.
But growing up, I mean, were there other mixed race families?
Most people were. A lot of our friends, all of my parents' friends, my now sister-in-law who I knew in high school, she's married to my brother. She is Chinese and white. Like, everybody was something.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that's interesting because we've talked about this, that I lived in Amherst, Massachusetts for a long time when I was a kid, and New York and Cambridge, and in very specifically sort of diverse, racially mixed places until I was 10. And then we moved to Salt Lake City, which was very white. And that was kind of the first time I was like, oh, this is crazy. This is like what TV is like. And eventually I realized like, oh, this is the real world. I was living in the fake world. But to me, the way I grew up for those first 10 years with just this crazy mix of people, which was so great. That's what I thought the world was.
okay, but here's the thing that I'm derailing you. But when like in the whole world of politics and like everyone talks about like, oh, like real America or like, you know, like liberal enclaves or people are like the elite, like the left, like that somehow like living in California or New York or any of these places like means that you're out of touch with the rest of the country. And I feel like that's like really fucked up and backwards logic because I come in contact with way more people from different places of different backgrounds with different identities than someone from a place that's all white. So like maybe I'm not in touch with those communities as a whole, but I've likely encountered more people from those places than those people have encountered people like me. Like, how many Black Jews do you think that they know? I know a lot. I know trans people. I know people who are like from all over the world. And so I think this idea that like, because you grew up in a place that is diverse, it means that you're out of touch with the rest of the country is a little bit not fair because I think you might be out of touch with like the community, like the overwhelming homogeny of some of these places.
Or the TV version.
Right.
Which is, yeah.
Right. But like it's not as if I've never met someone from Salt Lake City. Maybe I am in a bubble, sure. But like my bubble has a lot of different like brands of soap or whatever.
Nice and new.
I think that worked.
I get it. I bet. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry to derail, but
Oh, it's fine. But I'm curious, but growing up in a place like that for a really long time and then going to NYU, was there ever a point when you realized, oh, I am in a unique place, or it sounds like maybe not?
I've always lived in major cities, like Oakland, Bay Area, New York, and then LA. But when Obama ran for president in 2008, I had just graduated college and I quit my job working as a waitress at a burger place in Manhattan and moved to Southwest, super duper rural Colorado with my best girlfriend. We stayed in supporter housing. We worked for Obama for like 2 months.
You worked there specifically to work for the campaign?
Yeah, we went. Yeah, I shouldn't even say I worked. We volunteered. We drove there, so we had our car. But when our friends would come to like knock doors or whatever, they would borrow townspeople's car. It was 30,000 people in the entire county. Colorado at the time was hugely important.
Right.
So like votes, it was like 9 votes per precinct is what we were like working on. But we were in one of the reddest counties, but every county had these field offices. So my friend was in charge of 7 counties in the Western Slope. And we went to the most populated county, which is Montezuma County, which is where Cortez is. It's the county that's the Four Corners. And so that's where we were. If he had been in another place, we would have gone there. We just went where our friend was because we knew he would hook us up with how, like, because if you like emailed, like, want to volunteer, they weren't like, yeah, here, girls, come. Like, you had to kind of know what you were doing. Mm-hmm. So I lived there and that was definitely like, this is different.
Right.
The restaurants close at 8. And like things were different. And you know, it was fine. I had a nice time.
Curious, going back to your family, you talked about your father's other children who were older. Was it weird? Did you understand that your father had other kids?
I knew that I had half siblings. Like I knew that my mom wasn't their mom. Mm-hmm. I think that this is like a really common experience in Black families where it's just like people are your family and like exactly like I call my sisters my sisters. I only say they're half sisters when I'm explaining it to other people.
Interesting.
Like I'm not only to differentiate them from my brother, who is my full blooded brother, but I also have cousins who aren't related to me. You know, so like I feel like in Black families, like oftentimes you have, or Jewish families, immigrant families, Black families, there is, and also I think queer families now, there is this sense of like family is not necessarily blood, and the only time you have to explain it is to like white people.
I think it's this feeling of it's better to include than to exclude.
Yeah. And like also, I mean, the history of some of this stuff is like, you don't know exactly who's kin for real. Like, so I'm like, I think it's just like, oh, your family.
You have children.
I do.
How many children?
2. I have
Two?
twins.
How old?
They'll be 5 this month.
Twins.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's not fun for sure. Twins are hard. Kids are hard. I don't think I'm cracked up to be a parent, but I am one. And so here we are. I'm definitely not one of those women who like identifies as being a mom. I so rarely like talk about it at all because I'm just like, in the same way that like in my personal life, I don't really talk about my job that much. I don't really talk about my kids and my work life. Like I was in an argument with someone on the internet about something. And she was like, as moms of twins, I feel like we have more in common than we don't. And I was like, I don't. The fact that you would even think that having twins makes us like in community in any way is how I know we don't have anything in common. Like I was like so revolted by the idea that I was a mom and therefore connected to this like awful person. I think more women feel this way than are willing to admit, but I certainly have no problem saying it.
Do you feel with that relationship, do you see differences or similarities in your relationship with your parents or with your mother?
I mean, a little bit. My mom worked a lot because my dad was older. He was basically retired when I was born. He was 50 when I was 51. And my mom was 33. So she was like a working mom. She was like the breadwinner in our family. And so I think in some ways, like wanting to work and all of that stuff and like enjoying work and like being intense about it is probably connected to that. But in a good way in my mind. Like I don't have that thing of like, my mom always worked. I'm like, my mom had a job. Like I just feel like it seemed normal to me. She worked in real estate. So when I was younger, on Sundays, she would go to open houses all the time.
Has there been much trauma or tragedy in your family?
I wish I had better stories. I was young when my dad died. I was only 25. In my mom's family, so much, but it's all before I was born. So my mom was one of 4. When my mom was like 12, her dad had a stroke. He survived. It was not great. Then I believe when she was 16, he died. He like succumbed. But my grandparents owned a store in Inglewood, actually. My mom's from down here. And so my grandmother was like running a store. My mom's older siblings were 7 and 9 years older than her, I believe. And then she has one sister that's 2 years older. And so it was like my mom and her sister Bertie. And then the older siblings were already off at college when all of this was happening. And Jack, my mom's oldest sibling, he was like this brainiac guy. They described him as like real smart. I think he probably like maybe would have been autistic now, like really smart, but did not have like great social cues, or maybe just like wasn't very social. Right. I don't know. I don't want to diagnose someone I never met, but he was like riding his bike at Cal and got hit by a car and was like in a wheelchair. And then he got hit in his wheelchair and like died. Yeah, it was like a crazy story. So that like my mom's family had a lot of tragedy. And then, you know, my mom's mom died pretty young. As I mentioned, I never met her either. So that was not great.
Do you think that made her a more protective parent? I mean, those are real like freak things that could happen.
I would not say that. My mom is so weird because I have a lot of anxiety about bad things happening, but she doesn't have that. Maybe because bad things happened. So she doesn't have the fear of what happens if bad things happen because bad things happen. I don't exactly know. Maybe I should ask her. But what I will say that she always did, which I think has rubbed off on me for sure, is her and her sister always talk about how life is for the living. And like that's like sort of been their mantra of like, you got to go do the thing. Like we have like, it's like sort of avoidant, but it works. Like it's not the thing where it's like all of a sudden I walk in and my mom's like weeping at the table. Right? Like my mom, like it's like you're sad, appropriately sad for as long as you need to be sad. And then you like move on with your life. That's what my mom taught us. And I feel like that's what we did. I mean, we've had other like sad deaths. Obviously, my dad was very sad because we were young. He was 76, which is not young for a Black man, but feels young
these days.
And like people live to be 100. So I feel like I got cheated out of like 24 years at least. And I was young. You know, like my older sisters, it probably felt like a more appropriate age to lose a parent.
Right.
Because they would have been in their like 50s. And then you're sad about that for a while, and then you sort of move on. And also, it's the like appropriate order of life. I think that's the other part of it. Like, I think if you lose a kid, that's really different.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to go that way. Your parents are supposed to die before you. So I feel like while it was sad, he was also sick for like 8 years. So I sort of knew it was coming eventually, which doesn't make it better in the moment, but it doesn't feel as much as like a robbery.
What is family to you?
I don't know. I come from these families where everybody is invited in. Like we just had Thanksgiving and there's like a family that just moved here from DC and the mom is pregnant. She's due in a few weeks and her family's from Poland. Her dad is dead. Her mom's in Poland. Dad and the family, both his parents are dead. So we invited them to Thanksgiving and it was great. And so now I'm like, those are my family. I've met them 3 times, but it's like, to me, I don't have really a strong sense of what family is because that's like always how our Thanksgivings were. I joked to my mom, I was like, well, these people we don't know are coming to Thanksgiving feels like a Thomas family things here. Like there's always sort of a rotating cast of people, but I couldn't tell you what's family to me. I don't know. Like it's definitely not like mom, dad, brother, sister, though that is also my family makeup in a lot of ways.
Sure.
I guess it's just like, you want people to feel left out or like feel alone. That's like the worst. If someone's like, oh, I'm doing like literally on Thanksgiving Eve, I was at the gym and this man who I met that day at my workout class, we were chit chatting and he's like, oh, I'm doing Thanksgiving alone for the first time. I was like, do you want to come? And like, thank God he said no. My husband doesn't cook. He doesn't care. I'm just like, shut up. My new friend, and then I go, well, what's your name? Then I'd never met this guy before. It was very embarrassing. I saw him yesterday at workout class and he was like, how was Thanksgiving? I was like, great, how was yours? He was like, it was so good because he wanted to be alone, I guess. It felt like he needed somewhere to go and he didn't want him to feel like he didn't have somewhere to go. Not that Brian would have been family or whatever, but like, oh no, I guess.
Thanks for tuning in. Please consider subscribing to Identified wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major streaming platforms. And be sure to explore identifiedpod.com, the place to gain a better understanding of family. Our executive producer is Kieran Banerjee, and the show is produced by Palm Tree Island. The music for Identified is by Noella and Patricia Brennan. I'm Nabil Ayers. Thanks for tuning in.